A U.S. warplane is taking part in the massive search operation for Flight 370. The P-8 Poseidon aircraft is normally a sub-hunter that looks for submarines. But in its current mission, the Poseidon is using its underwater detection capabilities in other ways, like dropping sonar buoys into the sea to locate debris. Sam Legrone joins us now by phone. He's the editor of USNI News for the U.S. Naval Institute. Welcome, Sam.
Hi. Thanks.
Thanks for being with us. I appreciate. One of the frustration is it takes 4 hours for these planes to get to the search site, and then the planes can only fly 2 hours, and then they have to turn around and go back. That's a big frustration, isn't it?
It is. Well, I mean, it has to do with the nature of the aircraft and what they're designed to do, which is mainly to hunt submarines, both the Australians' P-3s that they have and then the P-8 that belongs to the U.S. Navy that's participating in this search. So you're asking these aircraft to go a little bit beyond what they're ordinarily designed to do.
Would it be nice to have an aircraft carrier closer to the debris site?
Believe it or not, that wouldn't be as effective for the aerial search because the P-8s are too large to be used on an aircraft carrier, and they're terrestrial aircraft for the most part.
Wow. So tell us how they can spot things underneath the water so far down.
Well, the P-8s are designed for submarine warfare, and there's a couple of things that they've got on board to help them find submarines. They've essentially got a sensor that can detect ferrous metal like steel. That's one thing that they have. They have a really big radar mounted on board. It's the APY-10, which is a very sophisticated radar that only searches the surface, however. And then when they also have what's called an electro-optical infrared sensor, essentially a very sophisticated video camera that's underneath the airplane that can zoom in very close to objects that are on the water. But the one limitation that they do have is they're designed to find submarines, which are noisier than just regular debris on the ocean. So all of their sonar equipment, which is what you would use underneath the water, is more or less not going to be terribly effective looking for anything underneath the water. The assets that they have are set up in the submarine finding mission to look for example, a periscope that's on the surface, or the wake from a periscope on the surface, or surface ships on the move. They're probably the best aircraft available probably in the world to do this mission, but it's still not what they're primarily designed to do. So they're pinch hitting, for lack of a better term.
We often see, like we've been on board one of those planes, and we often see members of the crew looking out the door of the aircraft, and then they drop these buoys from the plane. What are they doing?
Well, those buoys, in context to this mission, probably are markers to let them know where they've been before. I don't know enough about the context of which they were dropping them. Ordinarily, they would be used to find submarines. So essentially, they're great big microphones that are connected by radio to the aircraft. So you would drop a sonobuoy in a place where you think a submarine might be, and it would either send out a sonic signal through the water and listen for it to bounce back off a submarine, or it would be a highly sensitive microphone that would pick up, for example, the cavitation of a submarine's propeller or engine noise or anything that the submarine would do in the water that would be able to be picked up on a microphone, and then it's transmitted by radio back to the aircraft.
And, you know, I know these guys are expert flyers, but I personally always worry about everyone's safety. This is a very windy part of the world with very choppy seas. How do they fly? I just wondered how the wind affects them.
Well, ordinarily, so P-8s were designed to operate actually on the level of a regular airliner. So you've got the cruising altitude of a P-8 Poseidon at about 30,000 feet. It's based on the airframe of a 737. and that's ordinarily probably where it would operate from. But I mean, they can get as low as they need to go and detect submarines. So I mean, it all depends on the context of the mission. But you could go much lower than 30,000 feet. So a scenario could be a P-8 at a very high altitude could detect something with its radar and then want to go in for a closer look, and it could dip down several thousands of feet to get a better look at it with that video camera that's mounted underneath there. So it all depends on the context of the situation. But those pilots are all very well trained, and they know to keep an eye out for weather and how to stay safe in those kind of conditions.
And I'm glad they do. Sam Lagrone, thanks so much for your insight this morning. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Still to come in the newsroom, they help power your laptop and cell phones, but have been known to overheat and cause fires. Now officials say lithium-ion batteries were in the cargo of that missing Malaysia Airlines jet. Could they be to blame? We'll talk about that next.